presentations. Police Chief Walker.
Yes. Before I call him up, I would like to say a few words before I call him up and present him with this award. I want to talk about one of my exemplary officers, Officer Brian Hansen. He tonight has earned his second 10851 award in as many years, making him the second California City Police Department officer to accomplish this task. Criteria for this award are as follows. Recovery of 12 vehicles within a 12-month period, 3 of which resulted in arrest. Or recover 6 rolling stolens, that's a stolen car rolling down the street with somebody in it within a 12-month period. Or identify vehicle theft ring resulting in the recovery of 10 stolen vehicles and 2 arrests. Officer Hansen was able to obtain his second award by locating 6 rollers with 7 arrests and 4 unoccupied stolen vehicles. So I'd like to call him up and present him with this award if I could.
Sir. Congratulations.
Thank you. Couple more weeks, I'll have a mustache like his.
I'd also like to add, if I could, for the council, Officer Hansen just yesterday uncovered a theft ring within the city, which recovered, I believe, 5 vehicles and made 4 arrests. So he's on his way to the next award.
Very good.
And he will be the California City Police Officer of the Year for 2019.
Civic community organization announcements.
Good evening, council, and good evening. Good evening, council and community. I'm Todd Is that, can you hear that, Frank?
Go ahead and try that.
Hello.
I'm Todd Broussard. I'm president of Little League, resident of Cal City for 28 plus years. So I'm here tonight just to kind of bring you guys up to speed on the status of Little League this year. Our opening day is the 21st of this month, and to date we have 18 teams with 224 kids. Most teams we've had and most kids we've had in quite a long time, so it's been a fabulous year for us. Wanted to also thank T-Mobile. They have they're paired up with Little League, so they're providing registration fees for lower income people, which helps us not have to spend money for registration, and we put it towards other things like field renovations. So it's been a good year. Bring you guys up to speed on the Reno project. So far we've completed the softball dugout, juniors field fencing, junior senior field fencing. We've purchased about $6,400 in clay to redo. Spent somewhere right around $32,000 up to this point. Big thanks to a few of the people out here, Michael Ellison from ACE, his donations, Pete Madrid and Leland Corelli from ASAP Heating and Air, Ray Wilkins from NQ and Force Off-Road, Denise Delvidi from Golden Queen Mine, Eric Sinder from C4 Holdings, LLC, and big thanks to Marvin Hernandez from Fence Masters. He's donated quite a bit of the labor to do the fencing, so we've gotten more done than we would have without his help. So does the council or the community have any questions for me while I'm up there? All right then, well, you gentlemen have a fine day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is James Kelly. I've been here in town for 30 years. Something happened last Saturday morning.
We're doing civic community.
Loved him, you know, and then I just don't want to set a precedent in the future here. You know, that this is a park league with our park and rec, and I didn't know if it was brought to your attention, but I want to make it known that I support the fire and police in town for 30 years, and I do not want to set a precedent here in our community with our children. I think it'd be a great thing, you know, that they're around the officers and, you know, all the civic input. I just wanted to bring it to your all attention.
Okay,
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Any other civic or community organization announcements? Seeing none, public business from the floor, this portion of the meeting is reserved for the persons desiring to address city council on any matter not on this agenda and over which the city council has jurisdiction. Please state your name for the record and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Carla Flannery, council, staff, public.
Hang on, please. Okay, go ahead.
I am speaking tonight as a resident and a community activist. At last council meeting, February 25th, during public comments, I was really disgusted by comments made by an elected official from the podium. Ethics. What is ethics? One might do in a given situation, trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, compassion, loyalty, and fairness. The replacement of 2 council members that chose to step down. I'm sorry, but this subject is really intense for me. Has chosen to step down. Nothing to do with how they were replaced. The replacements were chosen as they, on their knowledge, not their sex, age, or race. As I look around the room, and especially looking at the dais, the department tables, I see knowledge. I see people stepping up and doing the job for our community. I see 5 men that have served in our United States Armed Forces, protected our streets as LEOs, served our community through churches and through businesses. I see a young lady to the right, the second female city manager in the history of our city. I see department heads, city employees of all ages and nationalities. We should be supporting them and empowering them to make sure our city succeeds. A quote I have used since I was 15 years old: community and unity. We have a person as such in our community that stood at the podium 2 weeks ago and tried to divide our community at the city level by sex, age, and race. It is time that our community comes together as a whole when we see such people trying to divide us. Community and unity, what it means, to help one another regardless of sex, age, and race. It is time we all start working together for the better of our city. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Sure. Could you go do a lap around? Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, council members, Al Hudson. First, I'd like to talk a minute about the handout that I passed out on the water and sewer ratepayers overcharge. For a few years now, I have addressed this council, the previous council, about tracking the amount of water line replacement. And all I've got is excuses and no answers. So that brought us to the point that we did the calculations using the numbers from the city's monthly financial statements to bring it to a head and a formal complaint for a refund of the overcharges in water and sewer. As a matter matter of law, under 218, council can confirm it. You can only charge when what a project was funded for. You can't collect money and say, well, we'll spend it later. You have to spend it then, not later. Each resident with a 3/4 inch water main is entitled to a $1,708 refund. On this refund, the city would be the biggest beneficiary of getting about $900,000 back into the general fund. That's not small potatoes. So I'm asking now that this item be that these numbers, calculations, be put on the upcoming agenda for council consideration of the refund. Because if we don't, there's few options left that would be very, very expensive for the city to fund. Now I have to move on. But I have a few questions here. One of them is, when is the 18-19 audit? What's the status? The next question is, when are we gonna have a budget calendar? We need that before you can go forward. We're way behind, we're months behind on that. And when are we getting the next audit in place? Can I have answers, please?
The answers are in my report, so
Okay.
I'll let me ask a question, I have answers for them, I do get
Okay.
answers.
Now, on the placing of the refund on the agenda, will the council agendize that?
Let me get, if you allow me to get back to you, Al, on something like that, because we've got the budget, mid-year on the 20th.
Okay, because I had previously asked for a date on the rollback, on the water rate rollback, and I was promised it, and it has not been forthcoming.
Hang on for a second. Yes, sir.
So just, Baron Van Houten, City Attorney, for the record, the fees were properly adopted and collected. My understanding is the city is in the process of spending those capital expenditures for the water lines. So right now, the city is in legal compliance. In the future, of course, the council always has discretion to lower those fees if there's less of a plan to replace water lines, but from what I understand, there's still a significant need for addressing the water lines in the city.
I beg to differ with you, Counselor, to give you citations on your position, because I believe the California Supreme Court has ruled that you can't collect the money and just bank it and subsequently spend it, and also factually account for how come there's over $12 million in the general fund that belongs in the Water Enterprise Fund. That is money that should have been spent, not just merely collected. Answer? None. Thank you.
From the looks from the clouds, it looks like everything's moving that way now, so there's no more kind of rotation that I can tell. So we should be good.
Anybody else public business from the floor?
Like to get
Patrick Bohannon, good evening. I've got a question about our water. I believe, and some of you may remember better than I do, I thought it was maybe 2013 or 14. 13 I was thinking, but I could be wrong, could be 14. This city hired a firm to come in here and tell us where we needed to be. We paid them good money because at that time, our base water bill, I believe, was about $26 a month, and our water lines were in terrible condition. Blowouts everywhere, as we're experiencing today. This is almost 7 years ago. They advised us where we needed to be on our water billing so that we could go out and get a loan to fix our water lines and to show that we could pay for the loan. So we increased our water bills. And now we're paying, what is it, a minimum of 54, 58, whatever it is. But we never got that loan. It's been 7 years ago. Our water lines are still blowing up. Where is that money going? What is it being used for? We did that specifically. That was the only reason that we raised the water rates. Bill Smith will remember. You should remember, Mr. Mayor. That was the only reason we raised the water rates was so that we could go get a loan and fix our water lines. How far along could we be now, 7 years later, with our water lines if we had done what we were supposed to? Instead, it looks to me like you've taken the money and put it in the general fund and just spent it on whatever you want to spend it on. We need that loan. We need to get these water lines fixed. And while I'm at it, our streets are horrible, terrible condition. But whatever happened to that loan? Jennifer Wood said right where Dr. Nick is sitting now said when we voted, and it was a unanimous vote. And she said, they've been kicking this thing down the road, kicking this can down the road for years, and we need to stop it. Well, it hasn't been stopped. And we're still paying, these higher water bills for nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else from the public? Seeing and hearing none. City manager report, department heads.
Just a couple of things. I've been talking with Pat Gordon and the Historical Society, so we met twice, and we've begun discussions about building a new museum. So they have money saved. That's an exciting thing, but they're getting excited to find a place to put that and to finally get that built. They're also creating a team for the city's 55th birthday anniversary in December. So I'll have more information on that next time for you. The questions that I received: when will the 17-18 audit be released to the public for review? It is completed. We've given them our corrective action plan. They've accepted it. It was unqualified, so when they get that back, it'll be published to the public, and you're gonna see it then. I don't know when we're gonna get that, shortly. As far as the auditor for the 2019, they're gonna be here in the beginning of April to start that one. It's already scheduled, I believe. April 13th is when they're gonna start. Let's see, what else was on there? Mid-year budget review will be on March 20th here at 10 a.m. As far as the water rate sewer rollbacks, we're going to be separating that from the master fee schedule. We're going to take that out. You'll see that next time. What are the other questions we had? The water rate study, the RFQ that went out is still open. We're not going to open them until they'll go to the clerk when we receive them, and then they'll be open at the same time. And when will the January 2020 financial statement be ready for the public? Tomorrow a.m. Tomorrow, Tuesday, or Wednesday, the 11th in the morning. So those are the questions you had asked. That's all I have for today.
Any department heads have any statements or reports? Seeing none. Consent calendar, all items on the consent calendar are considered routine, non-controversial, and will be approved by one motion if no member of the council, staff, or public wishes to comment or ask questions. Public comments, please limit to 3 minutes, and a roll call vote will be required. CC1, approved check registers dated through 3/4/2020. CC2 minutes dated of 2/11/2020. Waive readings of subject minutes approved as written and ordered filed. Does anybody from the public have any questions in reference to CC1 or CC2?
Al Hudson, CC1, check number 107-395 for $15,899. That was to Price Page. I believe that the last time Price Page was on the check register, we were assured that that was the final payment to pay for the audit. Why is the rates on Price Page increasing? Check number 107-376. That was for
395.
Pardon?
Page 9.
Okay, check number 107-376. That was for the Fortune Law Group, $28,966.28. And that's for Leonard Martin. Or is that paying for Leonard Martin's attorney? And is the lawsuit settled, or what is the $28,000 being spent for?
We have still denied it, but he continues to file appeals, and this is our legal counsel for Leonard Martin case.
Oh, okay, so it's the city's legal counsel?
Yes.
Okay, because I hadn't seen this firm's name before, I thought we had it. I thought the city attorney would be doing that.
It was Parsack, Mr. Parsack.
No, that's Parsa. And check number 107-344, that's to PNC Car Rental for $4,683.65 for 1 month. What is the revenue for the cart rental per month?
I will get it for you.
Yeah, just keep going with your questions and all.
Okay. And I believe that is it. That's all right there.
I'll get you the answer on PNC.
Pardon?
I'll get you the answer on PNC.
Okay, thank you.
And just to let everybody know that on check number 107-329, that is for Andy Heath, and that should be the last payment, correct?
Correct.
For that subject.
Okay, so this is the last thing on the Price Page then?
Not on Price Page. This was for Andy Heath, the,
Andy Heath, okay.
Yeah.
That's about time.
anybody else have any questions? Bringing it up here. Bill, you have any questions?
Mr. Mayor, 2 questions on the check for 107-329 for Andy Heath. There's a void above that. Was that voided, or is that, I'm not catching the, what is voided on that?
Yeah, the check, that check has been voided, it's the only one that's been stamped. The other ones are pre-issued.
Okay, so 107-329 has been voided?
No. You said the one above, the 107-115.
Okay. I don't know how to proceed with this, Mr. Bettenhouse, but I don't believe we should be paying that check. And I would want to pull that to discuss that. So if we could pull that to discuss, and then for check 107-384, $22,637 to Kern County Fire, could we get some explanation on that?
That's dispatch.
Okay.
That's dispatch.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have, but if we could,
Pull, 107-329 for discussion.
yes, sir.
We'll pull that one. Do you have any
Actually, I
questions?
have 107-343 Jones and Meyer pulled as well.
What's the check number?
107-343.
343. Any other questions?
Some questions.
Okay, can we get those two checks pulled and just have a discussion on those? We'll go with, if we can go with 107, 324 on the first one. Or 329, I'm sorry. It's 107-329.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question really needs to be directed towards Mr. Bettenhouse. Per a prior discussion, I believe you know I don't believe we should be paying this. Should I go any further than that, or should I ask you to give some direction?
Councilmember, my understanding is that this check is already, was prepaid, already paid, even before. Yeah, it was paid prior to our direction given.
The invoice date shows 2/21. I think this goes back to, do we approve check, is this are we approving these checks, or is this merely, rubber stamping? I'm not trying to be sarcastic with that, but if we're going through the motions up here, if these checks already been cut, I don't think this should have been paid.
Typically on contracted services that have been approved, like Jones and Mayer and Andy Heath, they are pre-issued. I mean, that can change, but that's been the practice.
Well, then I would like to discuss having these funds repaid to the city. And I don't know if I can go any further than that.
Mike, please. Microphone.
Yeah, that discussion would ultimately require closed session discussion for possible initiation of litigation, since the money has already been paid.
Then I think we need to discuss that, sir.
So with council's direction, we'll agendize it in the next meeting.
And in reference to check number 107-343.
We've been going, we've had discussions up here about the nature of the billing for the retainer for from Jones and Meyer to our city. And we were told that we would have detailed reports describing the services that were being provided to us and the amount of billing. And we have tonight a billing of $18,068.20 for legal services. And I'm pretty certain that we were told that we would have detailed reports before we approved monies. So I find this inappropriate to pay at this point, with the intention that we are living with that we need to be living within our budget. We don't even know what we're paying for here. And we have, I have raised this issue before, and I thought we were told that we would be given at least a private analysis of what we were being charged for. And I haven't seen that yet. I don't think anyone else has. Or has anyone else seen? So
I was under the impression that we were going to, it was gonna be more detailed as far as which department that, and all it's saying is legal service, litigation, legal service, but it doesn't give what the bill is going to which department.
Now, there may be a difference between what's on the check register. We do provide with all of our invoices a breakdown by department. So obviously the contract calls for a retainer amount. We've been requested a breakdown by department, which we provide now with every single bill. I have a copy in my hand. I don't know if that's being delivered to the council or how that's information.
That's supposed to be being given to us. I thought that we were told we would see that and that it would not be for public dissemination.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be for public dissemination, yeah. But we have no issues.
I recall that, Mayor, Council, I recall that it was gonna be, it's available for you guys upon request, is what I was told. Did not have it emailed out,
We have to do a request, they can't send it out, that means we'd have to come here to look at
which
it.
means come in and see it.
Well, then it has to be given to us before, prior to posting of an agenda. We have to know that it's here for it to be seen, don't we?
Well, that means that we have to set up a meeting with.
I mean, I don't mind, then notify me by email that it is sitting here waiting for me to see it, and I can see it before the meeting. But the idea that I don't have any clue and it's just on the agenda is not right. I think we asked for more information so that we could be developing policy built around these budget items.
Yeah, certainly happy to get you the information. Just for general information, the invoices are sent every month at the same time, and the breakdown is provided at the same time. So it should be here at the office at the same time every month.
So maybe we can set up an appointment with council, individual, so you go to finance.
Go to finance, yeah, or you can come and see me and I'll grab it for you. What we'll do moving forward is as soon as you receive it, I'll have accounts payable send me the notification, I'll send it to you guys that it's here, and it'll be available for you to see.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so, in reference then to, CC1, CC2, looking for a motion to approve.
That motion?
Got a first, looking for a second.
I'll second it.
We got a first and a second. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Lizinovich,
Aye.
Smith R.
Aye on CC2, nay on CC1.
Smith W.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Paris,
Yes.
Mayor McGuire.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, going to continued business, CB1, water main replacement, California City Boulevard from Isabella Boulevard to 72nd Street, water operator Lee Miller. You've got the floor, sir.
Good evening, Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem, Chief, ladies and gentlemen. Amador Meza, AMO, water operator lead. Subject is replacing existing 10-inch steel pipe with a new 12-inch PVC on California City Boulevard. The background, city staff is continuing the effort to replace all steel water mains in the city. And our city staff is ready to start the next project. The project will be on California City Boulevard from Isabella Boulevard to 72nd Street. Currently, we have a 10-inch steel water main in this area. Taking its place will be a 12-inch PVC pipe. The estimate for the project's material is $44,659. The city staff from Core and Maine at $47,973.08, and a third quote from R&B Company at $51,482.77. The time frame for this project is estimated to be approximately 2 to 3 months. The labor for this project is approximately 3 maintenance workers and 2 general service workers, 320 hours each. The city equipment that will be used is 2 backhoes and 1 water truck. The water truck is borrowed from the street department. The water department does not have a water truck. If the council, sorry, the estimated labor is $75,000. You can see the labor cost breakdown. The recommendation is if the city council approve the existing 10-inch replacement with the 12-inch PVC using the lowest bid for materials on California City Boulevard from Isabella to 72nd at a cost not to exceed $119,654.89. Attachments are the material quotes and the labor cost. The fiscal impact, the budget was adopted to defer all capital expenses. This project was listed in the budget for the Water Enterprise Deferred Capital Fund. The fiscal year 19 to 20 budget has $6,383,000 in the Water Enterprise Deferred Capital Fund. The City Council asked the staff to bring any expenses from the Water Enterprise Deferred Capital Fund to the City Council for approval. The amount to be taken out of the Water Enterprise Deferred Capital Fund is $119,654.89. Environmental action, this project would be exempt from CEQA. If I could, since I apologize, this is my first staff report for this, so since then, since I turned these reports in, I've had some thoughts and some notes, so if I could take a couple minutes. Why did I say 2 to 3 months? There's just different variables. There's, for example, blowouts, weather, such as today, call-ups on staff, vacation time, broken equipment. We have 2 backhoes down currently. It seems like one gets repaired and back out in the field, and the other one comes in. There's currently 2 down. One of them is hydraulic issues, and the other one, something's wrong with the steering or the wheel or something or other. Also, for my approximate on the hours and the staff members, it varies between 3 to 5, depending on the equipment. As I mentioned, a couple backhoes that we have down, it depends on if you're on a straight run. For example, there are easy projects like the mainline replacement and extension that we're currently on Norelia. I consider that an easy project. There is no vehicle traffic, no pedestrians, no street cutting, no driveways, no service connections, no crossings, no live main next to us, next to our trench that could blow out, cause issues. Also, when we're in a straightaway like that, without anything in our way, we can use an excavator instead of a backhoe. The excavator's design is just dig and go. Proposals from contractors or outside bids to remain, and there's pros and cons to that, obviously. And I agree, there's, in comments that we have never really tackled mainline replacement. Just gung-ho, we haven't. The cons for as far as going with the contractor, there's change orders, there's raising costs for change orders. The maps do not match what's in the ground in our system. That's a current issue we find ourselves in now. There could be blowouts next to the area where they're digging that would obviously set them back, and they're not familiar with our system. So I'm not against it, or I'm just throwing out there what it is. I actually think if we were to do that and be able to work side by side, and I feel that we have this overwhelming issue in front of us, why not tackle it from all angles, contractors and city staff? We installed in the fiscal year 15-16, we installed 7 miles of transmission line in that year using an excavator and a 4-man crew. So I know that we can do it. I know that it's there. I would be overseeing the project, manage the crews, city staff or the contractors. I know it can be done. We do have new staff, so at the same time that we would be investing in our own, any training, any hands-on. We get to know our system better, and they would get to know it better. We could run 2 to 3 crews constantly. And as always, I'm open to suggestions, emails, calls, suggestions on what I might or may not be looking at. Anyhow, those are just some notes that I've thought since I submitted this.
Who's in charge of our department? Who's the head? You or Toby or who?
Joe Berrigan, and then Amo.
He's number one?
They do, they have different roles. He does water main replacement, Toby does distribution.
Okay, cause I just, I'm concerned because I know one's on salary, one's an hour. You know, on weekend, it's cost us money to hear this man speak when the person supposed to be in charge should be here speaking, and I'm just curious, if the city's trying to save money, why is this happening?
He's not available right now, and we brought this forward.
Okay.
He's on training. But this would be Amo's project.
Thank you.
No, sir.
Any questions from the public in reference to this?
I asked for again, Al Hudson here again. The water rate study took into consideration all of the variables that Mr. Mesa spoke to. And it still came up with 5.8 miles per year. At the rate that Mr. Mesa is talking about, this would take, according to our calculations, let's see here, it would take 16 hours to lay 120-foot section of pipe. That's not anywhere close to the water rate study or the rates that we paid by, that we're paying for. If they're running into those kinds of problems, they should have addressed those at the time of the water rate study and made Bartell Wells and Associates aware of that so they could make adjustments, but they did not. Listening very closely to Mr. Mason, he's talking about a 4-man crew. That's half of what Bartell Wells put in their water rate study. So that supports our contention that the public is not getting what it's paid for in its water and sewer rates. And I thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think that when there's problems of this magnitude, that we ought to try using an outside contractor rather than doing it in-house, because and give the outside contractor incentives as well as disincentives for meeting timeframes and benchmarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Bringing it back up here. We have a motion.
I make a motion, we approve.
I'll second that motion.
We've got a first and a second. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Lucinovich,
Aye.
Smith R.,
Aye.
Smith W.,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Paris,
Yes.
Mayor McGuire.
Yes.
Motion carried.
New business 1, Public Works Department, proposed purchase additional equipment, water operated maintenance.
Hello, good evening again. Purchase of additional equipment, a water trailer, flatbed to haul pipe, and a dump trailer, and a lieu of a dump truck. In an effort to better serve the city with replacing water mains, mainline extension, and its overall efficiency, two or three crews can work on 2 or 3 mainline replacement projects at the same time. For example, One could be working the 12-inch main replacement on Cal City Boulevard from Isabella to 72nd Street. And the second could be working an 8-inch main on Heather Avenue from Isabella to Jeremy Drive. Attached are the cost of these trailers. City staff has received 3 quotes for each trailer type. Results will be seen quicker. Results will be seen quicker on the 2 water main project if these trailers are purchased and 1 or 2 crews are working on at the same time at the rate other than just the 1 crew working. The water department currently has 1 dump truck and 1 water truck loaned from the street department. The 1 flatbed trailer used to haul pipe. Another reason to purchase these trailers is that the city is limited in the staff that has commercial driver's licenses, CDLs, with tanker endorsements. Purchasing these trailers will help alleviate the staffing driving limitations. Recommendation that the city council approves the purchase of a 2020 Champ 357 gallon water trailer from Champ Equipment for $6,116.50. It's also called a water buffalo. A 2020 8 by 5 foot wide, 20 foot long deck over equipment flatbed trailer from Trailer Supply Store at $7,005.91 to haul pipe, and a 7 foot by 14 foot by 3 foot tall dump trailer for $9,185.05, totaling $22,307.46. 450 special department supplies. We have a current balance of $28,592.68. Amount to be taken. Yes, ma'am.
I have a quick question. You said Champ 357 and this says 535.
Champ 3, I apologize, you are correct. It is a Champ 535, which is 535 gallons. I just want to, I think I read it, but we don't have this equipment. Currently, the equipment that we do have is on the mainline project that's currently on Aurelia. We have a water buffalo that just came back from being serviced. So until then, I have 1 commercial driver with a tanker endorsement besides myself. So this frees up really staffing another crew that can go and line out the work. We only have 1 trailer, one of each of these. So, you know.
Anybody from the public?
Jim Brayton, California City resident. I'm not here to discuss whether or not the equipment's needed or not. That's another matter. But what I am doing is comparing the equipment that's put in front of you. If you, let's start with the flatbed trailer. Does everybody know what GVWR is? Gross vehicle weight rating? Okay. That is the maximum payload plus the weight of the trailer. So the greater the GVWR, the more payload you can get. So if you look at the Golden West trailer sales bid, it's a 2012 Big Tex flatbed. Doesn't give you the size. Doesn't give you the model number. Is it used or not? Doesn't give you the GVWR. If you go to the Carson trailer, it's a 10K GVWR. It's an 8.5 by 18 foot long. And if you look at the Big Tex one at Trailer Superstore, it's a 14 GVWR, and it's got a higher payload. So you're comparing an apple to an orange to something lying dead by the side of the road. And then if you look at the dump trailers, the Big Tex, it's 294 cubic feet of capacity. They got the tax wrong. They put in Bakersfield tax of 8.25% instead of 7.25% for us. I don't think that the city has to pay DMV fees. I think they do that with CA exempt tax. It's not done through the dealership. The PJ model is also 294 cubic feet, but the one from Brock's Trailers is 392 cubic feet because that's taller size. So you're comparing apples to apples with an orange. So you're not getting 3 quotes on the same thing. As far as the water buffalo goes, the smaller it is, the more frequently you're gonna fill it up. That's all I got to say about that. PJ Trailer has 4 dealerships within 100 miles. Big Tex has 3 dealers within 100 miles. And Carson Trailer has 3 dealerships within 100 miles. If you know what you want, you go get what you want, and you get a price on what you want. Not 3 totally different bids from different manufacturers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Al Hudson, I've been working in the trucking industry for well over 30 years. We computed our payloads at 1,000 pounds per linear foot. So that should be used as a yardstick to determine the capacity of the trailer so that you don't pay for something that really is not needed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else from the phone? Bill, do you have any questions?
I'm just looking back at what I paid for my 1,000 gallon trailer, but that's too much money. I don't know how much shopping you've done. You have 3 different bids or just 3 different companies?
Yes, they're both correct. I shop for what I like and what I think would fit our needs. 1,000 gallon trailer is a lot heavier, and we would, like he said, only fill it not as often as the 535 gallon trailer, but the needs for the day, that'll suffice, that's enough. The other trailer, the 2012, is a used trailer, so I'd rather purchase new and not invest into repairs and maintenance as I would a new trailer. Also, the other trailers are shorter. The sticks of PVC come in 20-foot, 21-foot sections, so a 20-foot trailer I was shooting so we wouldn't have so much laying over. So I did shop around since, and this is kind of what they fed back, what they had right now. I didn't want you guys, I didn't want the mainline project to pass and then say, oh, well, we don't have equipment. So I asked for what was out there, and this is what I got back, and exactly what we needed. We'll do.
Any other questions, sir?
Mr. Mayor, I thank you, Mr. Mesa, for your presentation. When we approved the Neuralia project, I was told at that time that one of the things that I was encouraged to vote yes on it, which I later apologized for doing that because I didn't feel the citizens got the most bang of the buck for it. But I did approve it, and I was told that was going to be used for a test to see how fast we can put water lines in. So we've got that project going. We approved this project, the continued business project from Cal City Boulevard, from Isabella to 72nd. I would personally like to be able to see how we do on the Neuralia project, how we do on this project. Our city is in a financial crisis before we buy this, and I understand if you're gonna be doing multiple, you're gonna need the equipment. But my recommendation would be that we do not buy this. Our mid-year budget review is supposed to be 2 weeks ago. It's been put ahead for another 10 days. We really don't know what we have. So 22,000 is pretty, I believe that's a significant amount of money. And my recommendation would be see how we do on the project that the 2 projects we've already approved before we approve another one. How are we gonna do before we're gonna see if contract, that would be my recommendation. So
I forgot to mention, I did write it on my notes. We are doing great on that project. We have approximately 3,000 feet in the ground at approximately 20 full days worth of work. The only difference between that project and this other one, the one on Cal City Boulevard, you have every other variable there. You have have a sewer line, you have a gas line, you have electrical, you have rising, you have driveways to cut, you have streets to cut, you have vehicle traffic, pedestrians, and I can't use the excavator on that without messing up. It's a track excavator, without putting some damage on the road, on the sidewalks, on people's, partially on their lawns. I would have to use a backhoe there, so that would slow things down on top of the other variables that are already gonna slow down. Again, Norelia is like a perfect project that you could throw at anybody. It's, there is some utilities there, but, besides that, you're using the excavator and there's nothing there. So I agree with you. I kind of wanted to take these three projects and just log down everything. I'm logging down hours, equipment, call-offs, people use, I mean, everything, so we can track it down. And next time I present something, it won't be 2 to 3 months. I won't be shooting from the hip. I can say, this is what we've done, this is what we can do, running 2 or 3 crews. The third crew, what I'm considering a third crew, for example, right now, we have some downtime with no blowouts and stuff like that. It's been nice and quiet. So during times like these, I would be able to line out a third crew and say, hey, let's go put in some main in the ground. Again, right now I'm just tied up because of the equipment. That's it, really.
And I appreciate that, Mr. Meza. I kind of feel like not you, but I feel like I got snookered saying that using the Norelia project, that would be the example, how far we can go, finding out that, just like you said, anyone, I don't think just anyone could. You guys are moving quick on that. This is going to be where the rubber hits the road.
Yeah.
And I just personally think before we buy any more equipment, before we approve another project, we get Norelia done, we get this done. Since you brought up Norelia, I'm hoping that we are not going to do any more than what was approved. Someone told me that it's supposed to be dug across the road to provide water to the other side. And I don't believe that was in the scope of what we did. I believe that some developers need to be kicking in for that.
You're absolutely correct. Almost on a daily, I'm asked that, hey, you guys gonna cross the road? I said, no, I'm going to where I was approved to go. Whatever comes between now and then would need your guys' approval, so I have not signed up for any road crossings, anything like that. And again, I personally, again, the mainline project on Norelia, it's nice because you can use the excavator. I could use the excavator in residential, but I don't want to. I'm gonna damage the street, sidewalks. There's no sidewalk on Cal City Boulevard there, but there's lawns and all that stuff. So again, approving this Cal City Boulevard project, that would be a good comparison what a backhoe compared to an excavator could do with all the variations and utilities and stuff can do versus, just going across the desert. It's kind of like when I quoted the 7 miles that we did of a transmission line in a year. Same thing, same situation. It was excavator, it was a green crew, but it was desert. There's nothing in the way. We could just have at it. I couldn't have done that with a backhoe. But I agree with you 100%. And no, I haven't signed up to do any road crossings up there or anything. At this point, it's the developers that are going to be doing that.
Thank you, and I appreciate your presentation, and hope you understand why I'm going to encourage my fellow council members. We've already approved one, not to approve more. We're in a financial crisis, so we see how we do on that, whether we're going to put this up for contract. So thank you, sir.
I understand. Thank you.
Is there a second call? Hang on, we still got people here. Sure.
Yes, questions?
Yeah, questions. Just questions.
We have approximately $12 million in our water enterprise fund. The purpose is to move these projects along as fast as possible. And if we tie their hands and say, well, let's wait until you get this one done and then we'll start another one, we're tying their hands. I believe that the council should approve to go full ahead on this. The money's there, and our city staff needs to be moving along and getting these pipes in the ground. Thank you.
Well, that's not a question, and I want to come back to a discussion after input's been given to us.
Good evening, Mayor McGuire and council. I am DJ Tuhig. Listen carefully to the comments that are being made this evening so far on the water project, which is reconstruction, and the comparison to the new line construction on Neuralia. You can't compare the two. There's water enterprise money available, and there's water standby fee money available. And so keep in mind, for more than 1 decade, at least 2 decades or more, property owners have paid into a water standby fee. Millions of dollars have been paid. So you cannot compare Neuralia to the reconstruction on Isabella 72nd Street. However, this council and previous councils have made it very important, appropriately, that we replace the water lines. And so I do agree with council members who are saying, let's take care of our business, let's replace the water lines, let's get the equipment we need, let's get the personnel that we need, and let's get this done, and let's do it prudently. So what we're seeing here is almost the sweet spot. You have council members concerned about being prudent, we all are. We have council members concerned about moving forward. We all want the sweet spot. But keep in mind, even if you hit the sweet spot on everything you're talking about, we still need to attract industry here. Because without industry here, we're not going to be able to sustain general services. So in the event that water standby fee money is used for Neuralia, which you approved, and we're able to use that to attract industry along Collins Avenue, or along Neuralia, or along Lindbergh, that's what was discussed in this council. So when we have a council member who says we're not going to cross the road, or you have staff saying we're not going to cross the road, I beg of you, why are we extending a water line if we're not doing it to attract industry? So let's know what the vision is, let's know what the mission is. When we're using water standby fee money, the purpose here is to attract industry along Neuralia. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
This is second call now, that's enough. What is sorely needed is what's called project management. Right, because a project manager would oversee the projects and put them in a cohesive sequence in order and track their progress with benchmarks and such. Because right now, we have no plan for sequential water line replacement, nor do we have benchmarks. We need to have benchmarks and a plan rather than just, well, we'll replace so many feet over here on the right and so many feet over here on the left. Because the money was, the water rate money was to replace all of the water line, not the section not different sections at different times. We've been calling for progress, but we haven't got any. So we've got 204 miles of water line to replace, with no plan on the sequence to do it. Let's get that in order, or hire a project manager to oversee the projects, because another concept in project management is the longer a project takes, the more it costs. Correct, Councilman Smith? Bill? What was it? The longer a project takes, the more it costs. Correct? Thank you.
So moving on to discussion.
Yes.
To my esteemed council to the left, we have a window now that's the remainder of this budget year, and to me, I'd like to see what the water department can deliver so that we can actually put something into a realistic budget for next year. The moment we've identified the costs of the parts to doing this, the labor is part of the water department, and that's not a new expense. The parts are. And once we've established that basically they're capable of, we didn't see any significant improvement in the bidding. So I don't know that I really am concerned of having to take these all to bid as much as say, what is it that they're going to earmark as results? And then I want to see for Al 5 miles worth of projects. There's no way they're going to deliver that the way we're moving our projects forward. So I guess what I'm saying is that once we've identified what it takes to go through raw deserts, once we establish how much it costs to go through digging up streets and connections, I want to give them a stamp to say get going, as long as we have a list of what they're going to do. I don't know that I want to identify each project and go through this 3-bid process. I want to see what they can get done between now and July 1. So that we can have a realistic idea for next year, because as far as I'm concerned, we haven't gotten anything done this year. I want to see results. And my question is, how do we get there? How do we AMO's leaving us the door open to say what they can't accomplish, then go to a contractor. Well, let's set ourselves up to be able to make that decision for next year. But that means we have to get something done this year so that we can actually analyze what we can realistically expect from them or not. So I mean, I think we have to at some point just say, go to work. So I don't know how to do that. I mean, I want you to buy into the process, but I want the process to move forward so that when we're tackling next year's budget, we can do something and hold their feet to the fire to get results. Because right now we can't, can we? Right now, we have no clue what we're going to have for results for the end of this year, and we don't also have a plan that leads us into the realistic objectives for next year. So I need this stuff to move just so I can have an idea, and then we can tell the community that we have a plan that actually can work. I don't think that 5 miles a year was ever a realistic goal in the first place. And certainly they created that 5 miles a year, but didn't say that it would take 25 years before they could turn the water pressure back up. So because all the other lines are going to blow as they're aging. But anyway, the point is, I'd like to see what they can do for the remainder of our budget year.
Flat on the back. Okay, but he knew what he was doing about water, okay? And he laid out a system first, and we didn't follow it. We started doing pretty good, and that's what we got to go back to again. We need to pick our worst areas in Cal City, lay them out, and let's get that section. The ones that are not leaking, we don't want to worry about, but we've been replacing some of them because they're on their way. But we need to go back to the old lines and let's replace the old stuff right away. And we can do that because we know where they're at, and they can make them down to smaller projects. I mean, you can do, 4,000 feet of pipe, instead of doing 10,000 feet, but we need to go back to our real problem of the water leaks, and that's where the worst pipe is, and that's what we need to fix first.
I would think that the northwest side of town is about as bad as it is in town right now.
Yes, so Mr. Al is correct. The longer a project takes is going to take more money. And the idea is to replace all of the 10-inch steel on California City Boulevard. This is just a section of it. The reason that these two projects, the other one hasn't came up yet, it's the other one, is because we've had between 3 to 5 blowouts there in the last few months. So these made it to the top of the list. I need to replace this section because it's not holding up. This is keeping me from, for example, I had to shut down the mainline project on Aurelia to help with the 8 blowouts we had. These 2 areas are part of those 8 blowouts. So realistically, yeah, it's a bigger scope and project that we're gonna do. But these are the weaker phases, areas that we need to replace that I've gone back to time and time again. And it's that there's a couple of questions. I'll come back afterwards. But that's how these 2 projects made it to the top.
Mr. Mayor, to address Councilman Lucinovich, we've approved 2 water projects. I said before I got snookered on in Aurelia because I was told this was going to be for tests. You need to prove this. That way we can see what the test is. Then we find out, well, this was new water line, talking about putting the water across the road. When we talk about water standby fee, and the citizens have been paying that for years, there wasn't much bang for the buck for the citizens, but there were some developers that have got the bang for the buck out of that. This is a different project. We've already approved the first one. I am not motivated when I hear because we have the money, we should spend it. Because we have the money, we should make sure we're spending it wisely. And how many projects we're gonna do before we find out we would do better to put this out for bid and have a contract do this, we will save money. My fear is we're gonna have be hiring more people for this, and we're gonna be killed in overtime on this. And that's my perspective. I'm only one individual up here, but I think we've got 2 projects going. I'm all for eating steak, but you can only take so big of a bite out of a steak before you choke on it. And we've got 2 projects going. We're gonna have possibly a third. Just because we have money, we ought to spend it wisely, because the golden goose doesn't lay a whole bunch of eggs, and that's my concern.
Well, right now, we're talking, before we get to the 3rd project, we got equipment that's been on discussion on whether or not we're going to allow them to purchase this. So that's where we need to be, so.
Would you be willing to vote on this after the mid-year budget review?
Yes, sir. After the mid-year, we've been saying that all along. We have been, we're not the ones that are slowing things down. Our consultant asked us to move it. The mid-year budget review was supposed to occur today when it was scheduled for 2 weeks ago, and now there's another 10 days. We don't really know what we have to work with.
Would you like a motion to table this to the mid-year budget review then?
I would certainly second that.
Did you want to do that at the mid-year review?
That's right, that's the motion.
Or,
Oh, that's the motion.
or did you want to wait till the next council meeting after the mid-year?
I'm asking,
That's only.
that was my,
Well, I will second and vote for either one, whatever you
so
prefer.
then at the end of the mid-year budget review.
Okay, at the end of the mid-year budget, that's the motion to table. You second?
I'll second that, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You want?
Mayor, just for technicality, you're motioning to continue to that
This,
meeting.
this will be NB1 is going to be continued to the end of the mid-year review.
March 20th.
March 20th.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go to, that's NB1, so now we're going to NB2. And NB2 is water replacement, water main replacement, Heather Avenue from Isabella Boulevard to Jeremy Drive.
Is this ditto? Yeah. Is this ditto?
Yeah. Good enough?
Replacing existing 6-inch steel pipe with 8-inch PVC on Heather. City staff is continuing the effort to replace all steel water mains. Our city staff is ready to start the 3rd project. The project would be on Heather Avenue from Isabella Boulevard to Jeremy Drive. Currently, we have a 6-inch steel main in this area. Taking its place will be an 8-inch PVC pipe. The estimate for the project's material is $34,344.45. The staff has received 3 quotes, one from Ferguson at $34,344.45, another from Core in Maine at $35,216.65, and the third quote from R&B Company at $39,158.83. The time frame for this project is approximately 2 to 3 months. The labor for this project is approximately 3 maintenance workers and 2 general service workers, 320 hours each. The city's equipment used will be 2 backhoes and 1 water truck, shared by the street department and other mainline projects. The city council approves. The estimated labor cost is $75,000. Recommendation that the city council approve the existing 6-inch steel water main to be replaced by an 8-inch PVC water main using the lowest bid for material on Heather Avenue. At the cost not to exceed $109,344.45. Attached are material quotes and the labor cost. The fiscal impact, the budget was adopted to defer all capital expenses. This project was listed in the budget for Water Enterprise Deferred Capital Fund. The fiscal year 19-20 budget has $6,383 in the Water Enterprise Deferred Capital Fund. The city council asked the city staff to bring any expenses from the Water Enterprise Deferred Capital Fund to the city council for approval. Amount to be taken of the Water Enterprise Deferred Capital Fund, $109,344.45. This project would be exempt from CEQA. This is pretty much the same thing. This is another area. It was both Heather and Cal City Boulevard that we've been at the last few months for different blowouts, different leaks. This one is between the other 2 projects, if I may. This is as far as easy or hard goes. This one, there's not a lot of traffic. There is a few, there's 4 houses that we have to cut the road and do service crossings. However, this one is a little more difficult than Aurelia because it is in a residential area. I would need a backhoe, but it's not as difficult as Cal City Boulevard one with the traffic and everything else that's there. But honestly, this can be on hold. I don't have equipment. The situation I'm in right now, I have all the staff available, but I don't have equipment to run the 2 projects that are even approved. I have equipment to run one, and if I can, I'll try to borrow equipment or from other departments or something if we have to start with the project that you did approve. Yeah, unless you want to purchase the material, so we have it there ready to go, that'd be great. And on downtime, we can, I have the staff, I just don't have the equipment. But we could get started, saw cutting, hot blowing, building stuff, building valves, clusters, hydrant tees, if you do decide to approve that.
So I just want to get some clarification. So for right now, for this project, NB2, you can't do anything with it until you find out whether or not you're going to get approved the equipment to use, correct?
Yes and no. You're not, I won't be just set free to run with it if I don't have the equipment, but I'm not a quitter. So there's times when we'll pothole, I'll find out what's in the ground. We can start building all the hydrants, the tees, the clusters, everything that's going to go in the ground, so it's ready to go.
And that would be for the equipment that you need to, the materials that you need to buy.
Absolutely. So if you do move forward with this, at least we can have the material and I can start building what I can until the equipment becomes available after Aurelia, after Cal City Boulevard, and then this project.
Okay, so the material then you would be looking at $34,344.45.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Bill? Any questions on this?
No,
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mesa, if I could, a couple of quick questions. We were in a meeting some time ago and brought up my concern when we talk about one department borrowing equipment from another department. It's California City Public Works. Somebody's not using their equipment. We don't need 17 graders if there are 17 departments. If one's not being used, should be utilized by other departments. So if we put it off for another 10 days, which we have for the equipment, the test was to see whether or not, want to see what kind of funds that we have, because we don't know what kind of funds we have. But if you don't have the equipment, then it seems putting the cart before the horse to approve this with the equipment. But when you talk about borrowing equipment from other departments, is there equipment that you could borrow? You're all public works. Is there equipment that you could use for this?
Yes, for example, the trailer, it's not designed to haul pipe, but we do have a large trailer to haul the grader in. I could possibly use that. The water truck that, whenever it's available, and they've been great at, us borrowing or using it, that hasn't been an issue. However, there is times, we do have only one water truck in Public Works. When we have like the dust storms and all that, that obviously takes precedence. I've been able to improvise, adapt, and overcome. Sometimes we'll leave trenches not fully open, but we saturate when we do have a water truck, and then later on we'll come back and backfill completely. Sometimes just gotta figure stuff out. So I think moving forward, there is come up with something. It would be very helpful to have the equipment that I need to do the job. But, I also understand completely, absolutely your concerns with that. So there is possibly equipment that I could probably look for and use.
Well, my recommendation would be the same as the equipment. If we're gonna wait 10 days, if this is gonna be continued for 10 days, my recommendation would be the same on this, to bring this back in 10 days.
You're correct.
Well.
10 days is, I don't think that pricing and all that will change. They do have, I think it's a 30-day, hold on their quote or material costs and whatnot, but, 10 days is fine. Absolutely. Something you mentioned earlier that I just want to be very clear. As far as an Aurelia project and crossing the road eventually to Collins and Yerba, there is water quality issues with not having a loop system versus a dead end system. I just wanted to specify that, so you're not looking at me funny when I say, well, if we do cross and connect this to Yerba, that'd be great for our system, for our water quality, for state compliance, stuff like that. However, again, I still stand where I said what was approved was just to stay on that side of the road, and that's what I'm sticking to until I get further directive or direction or approval.
And at that particular time, I will encourage that the developers that are benefiting from that should be kicking in for the benefit that is to them.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Amador?
Yes.
What's the pipe that's sitting over the wastewater treatment plant?
That is leftover pipe from the Garibaldi project, Nelson, actually. So when I got that material, that was for Garibaldi, Jeremy, Ives, for that whole issue, that whole area. But once we potholed Nelson Drive from Mendocino to the treatment plant, it was new stuff. And I believe it was either 2008 or 2012, somebody had ran new main in that area. So I didn't feel the need to replace that. So that is some material that we have there.
Is that 10-inch or 8-inch?
8-inch.
So that could be used on this next project that we're looking at?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Be nice to put it in the ground and take it out of the sun.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Public have any questions? Seeing none, coming back up here.
I make a motion that we do the same thing with this as we did with the equipment and bring it up on the 10th. Or on the 20th.
20th. I'll second that motion.
Got a first and second. Let's do a roll call on this.
Councilmember Lucinda.
Aye.
Smith R.
Aye.
Smith W.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Paris.
Yes.
Mayor McGuire.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, council agenda. This portion of the meeting is reserved for council members to present information, announcements, and items that have come to their attention. The Brown Act precludes council staff or public discussion. Short staff responses are appropriate. The council will take no formal action. A council member may request the city clerk to calendar an item for consideration at a future meeting or refer an item to staff. Does anybody have any AB 1234s to report?
No.
No? No? Okay. Councilman Lucinovich. Councilmember Smith R.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With our city manager's report, I probably should have come up there for the questioning, and before I knew it, we were on to something else. On the cannabis tax schedule, January the 31st it was due. Could we get a report of how much, what has come in? Anybody late? Do we have that? Do you have that now?
And you would have that report.
Okay.
And get that to you tomorrow morning.
Okay. Could I request that all the council could get the information? And then I would like to request to be agendized. I've looked at our California City Municipal Code, looked at our cannabis ordinance, and specifically with the clear plastic greenhouses on Hacienda, section 5-6.906 talks about nothing visible as far as the cannabis. Pretty hard for that not to be visible. I said Hacienda, Nerelia, thank you. But it is visible. I believe that has to be revisited. And I've driven by, without stalking, I have driven by a number of times, and I do not see how there can be any odor control placed on those temporary greenhouses. And it's not going to be fair to our community to be able to have that. I see in the back that there's going to be an opportunity for it to be vented out the back. That has to be revisited. So I would like to agendize, I don't know the wording, but odor control / temporary greenhouses. And I cannot imagine that our community expected that this is what we're going to see in basically a residential area right across the street. So that's all I have, man.
That's what
I don't have anything for right now, but I agree with Ron. Definitely. So that, yes, sir. Yes, sir, you sure can.
April 27th is the deadline on the permits for all these dispensaries and not distributor, but distribution. Delivery. Okay. I believe our municipal code said that they had to be up and running 4 months prior to April 27th. And then they also had 60 days prior to that time to renew their permits. I'd like that agendized with the municipal codes so that we can discuss and review these permits and determine how we're going to proceed as a council. Thank you.
Put both those
Pardon?
The delivery permits?
The dispensary and delivery.
Dispensary and delivery. Just put it all in one shot, on one agenda.
Thank you.
And please don't forget, that we have the mid-year review on the 20th of this month starting at 10 a.m. here at City Hall. With that, looking for a motion.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Everybody, thank you so very much for attending tonight, and we are adjourned.
3:20, reserve 10 a.m. Are you first? Are you gonna?
What did you
NRA bank?
Check your text.
I don't, I have no plans.
I got an 18-foot, 1408. You can borrow.
You're not an NRA.
It's just what you're looking for, it's just 2 feet shorter than what you're trying to buy. You can borrow it, but any massive damage, you guys have to pay for. It's almost in pristine condition right now, I've only used it 3 times.
No, I need it.
You don't know how long it took me to let the wife, make the wife let me buy it.
No, they'll come down.
It just takes a 2 5/16. I'll drop it by the.
Well, I'll let you know. I'll leave it with my addresses. There might be one.
Yeah, but this one, I mean, it's available.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Doing my best to adjust.
Hey, are you in touch with the cannabis